Hey, do you find that bit in Revelation that's like, then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire weird at all?
Hey everybody, I get tagged an awful lot in this creator's videos, and doesn't seem to me that they're being serious about these parallels. But I figured I'd go ahead and respond to one. So without further ado, all right, let's see it.
Yeah, the lake of fire is hell, so Hades isn't being used as a synonym for hell here.
So this is inaccurate. The concept of hell as we understand it today did not exist when the book of Revelation was being written. It is actually a composite of a lot of the different pieces of imagery from Revelation and elsewhere, and gets brought together really in the medieval period and into the Enlightenment as we understand it today. There's a lot of later literature that is responsible for tying certain pieces of imagery into our composite notion of hell, such as this imagery associated with a lake of fire. That phrase is only occurring 5 times in the entire New Testament, all of them in Revelation 19 and 20. There are 3 words that are used to refer to what we know as hell in the New Testament. Gehenna and Hades are the 2 most common, and then the one that only occurs once or twice is Tartarus. Now, throughout the book of Revelation, we only have 4 occurrences of any of those 3 words, and they're all Hades. So if there is any reference at all in the book of Revelation to hell, it's the 4 references to Hades. And if you would like more information on the development of the concept of hell, the next Didascaloi online class will be taught by Professor Candida Moss, and she will answer the question, where does hell come from? And that will be on Thursday, October 26th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. You can go to didascaloi.com for more information and to register. Registration is on a pay-what-you-like basis, so if you would like to join Professor Moss for $1, you are more than welcome to join her for $1.
And previously in Revelation, it says that Hades comes along with the 4 horsemen, so yeah, what?
This is the personification of the concept of Hades, just like the personification of the concept of death. This is something that was not uncommon in ancient Southwest Asia, and particularly in apocalyptic literature.
Yeah, the 4 horsemen are conquest, war, famine, and death, right? Well, strictly speaking, that's just how we've interpreted them. The Bible passages never name them like that, and there's actually a lot of debate over their actual identities, so to speak.
There's not that much debate. Most scholars are in pretty general agreement about what this imagery is referencing. Now, folks who think these are prophecies about events and people today, sure, they debate about it, but that is not really taken seriously by scholars.
Well, what does the Bible say about them? Well, the first rider arrives on a white horse with a crown and a voice like thunder and sets about conquering. That sounds like Zeus, but go on.
So a few notes on this imagery. To begin, the sound like thunder, it does not belong to the rider. John actually hears a voice like thunder commanding the rider to come forth, and then the rider comes forth. And the rider is riding on a white horse and is wearing a wreath. Crown makes people think of a king or something like that, but the Greek word here, Stephanos, refers to a wreath, whether made out of actual leaves and branches or made out of metal but made to look like leaves and branches. This is the reward someone is given in some kind of victory. And the white horse is a piece of symbolism that is used in iconography in Persia, in Rome, in Greece, and it's usually used to symbolize someone's victory in battle. A general or an emperor or something like that is represented on a white horse. So the idea here is that this rider represents human conquest, and probably not Roman conquest here, but probably someone whom they hoped or expected would actually defeat Rome from the outside. So no, this has nothing to do with Zeus.
And there was a rider on a red horse who was equipped with a great sword and was going to take peace from the earth and make men slay each other. Ares?
So this is thumbing its nose at the Pax Romana, suggesting that this is a fragile peace and that it is not a stable source of security.
And horseman number 3 on a black horse is just kind of weighing out grains and saying how they cost more than usual. Horseman of inflation? Or I mean, Hermes is the god of merchants. This feels like something he would comment on.
This is not really about merchants. This is more about the use of extremely inflated prices for staple grains like wheat and barley as imagery of food crises and economic crises, usually caused by war or famine or some kind of curse from God or something like that.
And the final one, everyone knows, on an ashen horse is death, followed by Hades. Thanatos. But why? The resemblance is undeniable, and several Greek gods are even mentioned by name in the Bible, but...
So death is personified in literature from ancient Southwest Asia going all the way back to the 2nd millennium BCE, well before these Greek concepts popped up. However, the Greek word for death is thanatos. That is what the author of Revelation is using here, and it is certainly plausible that there was influence from Greco-Roman mythological world on the way that the author of Revelation is representing death. And the rest of this creator's video is more about their theory about Loki as the god of the Bible, which, again, does not strike me as something that's intended to be taken seriously.
Well, thinking for a second about my theory that God is Loki, that he offed all the other gods and rewrote history to pretend he'd been the one and only god, but Ragnarok was still fated to happen, so he had to keep Baldur alive. I think I was mistaken. Ragnarok wouldn't happen because of all the major players, and they weren't foretold to be resurrected. I think Loki has just changed history, but you know what he didn't account for, what he didn't even know of? The Greek gods. Loki flew too close to the sun and attracted their attention, and now they're coming to get him, and he's terrified. So he's told everyone that it's the apocalypse, and please come fight for me as the army of God, because if this happens, everything will end. But really, it just means the end of him, because now he's realized there are other gods who don't need the apples of Idun, who are powerful enough to take him down.